Owning a home is full of surprises. Some wonderful, some not so much. And when something breaks, it can feel like the whole day unravels. That's why HomeServe exists. For as little as $4.99 a month, you'll always have someone to call. A trusted professional ready to help, bringing peace of mind to 4.5 million homeowners nationwide. For plans starting at just $4.99 a month, go to homeserve.com. That's homeserve.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range between $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs.
Welcome back to Hot Takes and Deep Dives, and I am here with returning guest. He is one of my most trusted advisors, as always, Jamie Stein. Why laughing?
I'm happy to be here. I'm giddy to be here. Always fun to hang out with you.
You know, I want to say two things up top. Truthfully, Summer House is the last vestige of my Bravo interests. Summer House, like, this is the last man standing for me. It never got old for me. I have loved it consistently all these years. Ever since season 3, I have watched it live. It has been my friends over at Come Through Queen, which is a Bravo recap show. They always refer to Summer House as their pet show. And Summer House, I do feel, has always been our pet show. I feel like it's consumed a lot of our private conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it means a little bit more to you than it does to me, although that makes sense because I feel like you're a New Yorker and it's such a it started out at least as such a distinctly New York show, and I think the core cast, what I consider the core cast, the OGs, they're still very distinctly New York. But yeah, no, it totally has a soft spot in my heart, and we do talk about it quite a bit.
And Jamie, all of the episodes that Jamie and I have done together are centered around the fact that Jamie is an empath and an intuitive, which means we're not going to sit here and do breaking Bravo news. You can go do 100 different podcasts for that. But really what that means, as an empath and an intuitive, you watch these shows and are able to reflect back the deeper unconscious of what is going on.
Yeah, I think the simplest way to say it is I'm very sensitive to energy, and I pick up on what's going on with people on a deeper level, both in terms of, thoughts, feelings, energy, emotion, belief systems, and also what might be playing out for them on a soul level. Because I personally believe in that we are here in these lifetimes to learn certain lessons and to grow and change, evolve over our human lifetime. So yeah, I'm interested in what we're watching play out on screen, not just from the point of view of okay, why are they doing what they're doing, which is interesting in and of itself just from a human behavior perspective, but also, what's the possible deeper invitation here for someone like West or Amanda or Kyle? How is this life asking them to grow and evolve according to their possible intended soul journey? And I think reality TV is an interesting place to do that because, I always sort of muse about the fact that it's called reality TV. I kind of call it the simulation within the simulation. It's we're the sort of spirits looking at the humans in the fishbowl, watching them play out their dramas. And one could argue that's what's happening with us. We're all in our own reality show.
I was listening to a couple of things you've done, a couple of pieces of content you've done on the whole Summer House thing. And I just want to bring this in right up top. You said certain patterns in our lifetimes repeat themselves and they rise to the surface because they haven't yet been properly dealt with. And our job is to then finally deal with them and not just be see, I told you so. Every man or woman is going to disappoint me. Oh, I'm always going to get fucked over at a job. It's if you actually open the invitation that it's giving you, there is an ability to finally solve and get to the other side.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think that, the game of life is set up so interestingly. I think that we unconsciously make choices in a way to recreate these patterns over and over. So we see that on the show, right? Sierra has found herself repeatedly now at the hands of some asshole guy kind of using and abusing her, right? Or West is another example. Like, we've now seen him sort of play out the same drama, I guess, with Sierra twice now. You know, we saw that with Sandoval, with Ariana, and then Raquel. You know, I just think we play out these stories because we have a belief system inside of ourselves. So Sierra, we're watching her navigate this. She's had an unconscious, and we could even say conscious, belief system of like, I can't trust people, I'm going to get screwed over. And then she perhaps makes unconscious choices that keeps her stuck in that story, because ultimately the invitation for her will be, and I think for all of us, how do we learn to rewrite the story even when we're inside the story? So using the old story to write a new story. And so when I say we're here to learn and grow, that is where we learn and grow. That's where we learn a lesson. We master a lesson that we're here to learn. So again, according to my belief system, we come into these lifetimes, we're meant to get wounded in a certain way. Like Sierra was meant to go through whatever she went through with her father and his new wife, where she felt rejected and abandoned, so that as an adult, hopefully at some point, she gets to learn how to rewrite that.
Do you think she has finally learned the lesson, with West at least?
Oh, with West for sure.
You think she has at this point? Where it's Saturday, May 9th.
I think so. I don't think she's going back. I think the headline's pretty clear for her. I don't think she's going back to that well. Which, by the way, the blessing of this situation, I mean, I think there are a lot of blessings here for her, but this is one of them. You know, it blew up loud and fucking clear. I don't think she's going back to West anytime soon.
So before we really dive into each of the characters one by one and like how they feel toward each other on a deeper level, I want to ask you, just as a viewer and a fan, which has been more juicy and satisfying for you personally? The West, Amanda, Kyle, Sierra situation on Summer House, or the granddaddy of this, which is the Vanderpump Rules, Tom Sandoval, Ariana, Raquel?
That's a really good question. They're a little bit different to me in the sense that I feel like they reflect the tone or the flavor of their respective shows. VPR, you know, to me that felt sort of somehow down and dirtier and more immature, whereas this does feel a bit more adult. I mean, in part because we're dealing with an actual marriage. Although, I mean, Tom and Ariana were in, you know, a long-term life partnership. But the players, I mean, look, I think Summer House has always been more adult. It's been the more adult counterpart to VPR because, going back to my original comment, these were originally hustlers. You know, Kyle Cook, you know, for whatever you want to say about him, for Lindsay, whatever you want to say about her, they were hustling. You know what I mean? Entrepreneurs, PR mavens. So I always think Summer House is just a little bit more adult to me. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a cop-out of an answer. They hit different sweet spots for me. VPR is a little darker, a little dirtier, a little trashier, whereas Summer House feels a little bit more sophisticated. So
you think this scandal is more sophisticated?
I do, even in the sense that there's a little, I mean, you could say there's a little bit more complexity to it, just in the sense that, I think the relationships are a little bit, and I also think Sierra and Amanda were much closer, actually, than Ariana and Raquel. And I think Amanda's a more interesting femme fatale because Raquel/Rachel, I don't mean this in a denigrating way. I actually feel so supportive of her and like everything she's done on the other side of Scandoval. But yeah, she was a little bit more of like, she presented herself as kind of like a flighty dim bulb, you know, pageant girl. Whereas Amanda, I think there is a little bit more of that shock value, I think, for a lot of people, because she presented more as, you know, as a girl's girl, as genuinely close with Sierra, as someone with emotional intelligence. A lot of people really genuinely liked her and loved her. And even West, he's a bit more, I mean, Sandoval was surprising too, because he had always presented as the good guy, but there was something about the way that West had been exposed, then came back from it, and then got exposed again. I do think there's deeper shades of complexity with this one.
I think the Summer House scandal is way more compelling than Scandival, because there are so many different layers to it. For me, the Vanderpump Rules one was like very cut and dry. Yeah. Very simple to understand. And also, this is much more compelling because this is playing out in real time. Just last night, more news broke. Like, this is more of an ongoing story. Like, oh, they were at Bowers, like, they were at the bars in the West Village. Like, there's constant breaking news. Whereas with Vanderpump Rules, it kind of seemed like we don't really know when Tom and Raquel were over, but this just seems like this is really playing. Like, I could actually walk outside and Wes Wilson could be walking by my apartment and I could talk to him. Like, they're just more, I don't know, something could happen like at any moment.
Well, I mean, I do agree with you that I agree with you that I think there's something more interesting about it. But I do want to say, I think at the time, there was that sense with Scandival. I mean, there were things that were breaking with Scandival where it was like, even if it was just going back and it's like, oh,
when he dressed as her for Halloween.
Exactly. or even like when that interview with her broke outside the nail salon with TMZ, like there were, I think, breadcrumbs happening in real time. But I do agree with your fundamental point. And I think I more or less just said it too, that, yeah, there's something about this where there are deeper shades to it. You're right. It's not as sort of, archetypally cut and dry.
And then even still, like, the friendship betrayal is both ways. It's West and Sierra. There's that. I mean, I think it still remains to be seen if they wound up getting back together in the fall. And people have said that, oh, they were romantically involved after Summer House stopped shooting into the fall. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of betrayals happening on a whole, even Kyle and West. Like, that's a betrayal.
Yeah. And I also think, to your point, I posted about this on Instagram, even just Amanda, I think it's interesting how she, in some ways, is both the Sandoval in the situation in the sense that she's the cheater, but there's also a way in which she's the Raquel Rachel of, like, having gotten into this relationship at a young age with Kyle, having been kind of, and I'm not saying this to victimize or infantilize her, because I think she unconsciously was invested in this dynamic, but Kyle was sort of the bigger personality that sort of outshone her. I think she was very lost in the relationship, and then coming out of the relationship very sort of, I think, probably confused and scared and perhaps even looking for an identity. And then here's this guy, West, to give her like what feels like a safe home. So it's just interesting to me that she's both Sandoval and Raquel Rachel all in one. So yeah, I think it's a dynamic. You've sold me, Jess. This one's more... they both have their place, but this one's juicy for sure.
So before we dive into everything, and we're not just going to do the Kyle, Amanda, Sierra, all that. I also have a lot to say and a lot to ask about Carl and Lindsay. I mean, we have been champions of Carl Radke. I mean, we thought we were the only ones. Remember at the start of the season, we were like, wow, it's just us. He has two fans.
It all comes back around, Jeff. I mean, that's the thing. But not even just Carl, Lindsay too. I mean, because we're both OG Lindsay fans, right? I mean, we've loved Lindsay from the beginning. Being a Lindsay hub, I want to say this because it's so cool to love Lindsay now. It's hard. No. I mean, but now everyone loves her. And if you don't like her, you don't stand with women and But I just want to say this. Being a diehard Lindsay Hubbard fan from day one was a lonely island. I literally, I had former clients telling me I don't understand narcissism because I had a soft spot for Lindsay. Like, I was out there, and I know you were there too, just saying, Lindsay's fierce. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She's great TV. She's strong. I loved Lindsay. And by the way, I'm going to take this opportunity to say, I also love Danielle. I'm not going to shit on Danielle. Danielle is great television.
Oh, boy.
But I'm just saying, and it's just so interesting now. So everyone hated Lindsay, then everyone loved Lindsay, then everyone was shitting on Carl when their relationship was breaking down. And yeah, he was making some mistakes. Now everyone loves Carl. I'm just like, guys, this is why we need to give people grace, all along the way, and not just be so reactive in the moment, and to understand these are human beings who are on their journeys. But yes, we are day one diehard Lindsay Carl supporters.
Okay. Let's start with Amanda. You had said something on your Instagram, which I invite everyone to run to Jamie's Instagram. You're doing like quick little 30-second quick hits on people. And I loved what you said about Kyle and Amanda. The first thing you get off of them is just young and dumb.
Oh, West and Amanda.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Kyle.
I meant West. Yes. West and Amanda. The first thing you get off them is young and dumb.
Yeah, when I heard the audio leak, and Amanda was sort of stammering in her defense, and then Wes, you can kind of hear him mumbling in the background, I just was like, oh, they just felt so young to me. The words I just keep hearing is Arrested Development. It just felt like two teenagers just caught making a big mess and like making excuses for themselves. And I was like, both of these adults, because they are adults, and people get triggered when you see. I'm not making excuses for them. Teenagers can be destructive, but yeah, they feel very young to me, like Arrested Development, adolescence. That's what it feels like.
So I never liked Amanda. Day one, there's never been a moment in my Summer House career that I have enjoyed seeing her on television ever. This person does not belong on television. She's not entertaining. She's not a reality TV star. She's not ambitious. She's boring. She's a mouse in the house. I mean, I don't know how many ways to say it. And I think what bothers me most about her is she went from Daddy's house to Kyle's house. Mm-hmm. Daddy's wallet to Kyle's wallet. And again, this is just me editorializing. I think the only reason she wanted to date him, from what I understand, they met at a party prior to season 1 filming. They met in real life at a party. Mm-hmm. And they dated for X amount of months, and he broke up with her to go do the show. He wanted to do the show single. And I think that, it's very clear if you go back to that first season, the only reason that she kept coming around is because she wanted to see what was up with the TV show. Mm. I don't think she was really into him after a certain point, particularly after they got into a relationship where after a year, he cheated on her quite publicly. It was exposed publicly, and then they get engaged 6 months later. Like, that is insane behavior. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is the work of somebody who is grasping to stay on television. I mean, do you agree with any of that?
Hopefully this goes without saying. I'm not someone who would do anything to get on TV. So obviously I've seen the first season. It's been a minute since I've seen the first season. I remember she was like his hookup. I'm not sure I consciously remembered the timeline that he had broken up with her and then she kept coming back around. So yeah. And apparently I did read something online recently that she had talked about always like being obsessed with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and wanting to be on like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I
didn't even know that. Wait, Amanda wanted to be on Beverly Hills?
I mean, not like for real. I mean, meaning she was obsessed with the show and like the idea of being on TV. Now, by the way, this is not straight from the horse's mouth. This is something I read about her on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, it stands to reason based on what you're saying. There is a good chance that a lot of her interest was being on TV. I mean, I always err towards the side of, humans are complex. Again, it's hard for me to imagine just someone pursuing an entire relationship and marriage just to be on TV. Like, there's part of me that just has an inclination to be like, well, at some point there were genuine feelings, or that's part of it, but there's also other aspects. Because to your point, I do think that Amanda is a bit of a daddy's girl, and I think that Kyle is a daddy, and I think he may have checked a few different boxes, because I also think we're seeing she is someone who has major codependent patterns. And I think her age is relevant, that because she was like 23 at the time. Mm-hmm. So that's like fresh out of college, when we're becoming adults, when we're meant to individuate. So yeah, I guess I'm saying I feel like it could be multiple things being true at once, where yeah, like TV was the shiny object, and here's this handsome, masculine kind of daddy energy where she gets to put off actual individuation, stepping into her adulthood, stepping into her womanhood. It just checks a lot of boxes, is what I would say.
I also think that Kyle is incredibly codependent with Amanda.
with everyone.
That man, did you watch the Man on the Street interview, the one that he did with the paparazzi?
Yes, and I just want to confirm he set that up, right? Like these are not
it's his
spontaneous.
It's his good friend.
Okay, so these are set up. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. Okay, yes, I've seen them. Yes.
In that first one, which I think was the week the scandal broke, when he said Carl's a mess, like that very first one. I think that was still the first week the scandal broke. He's saying, please don't come after Amanda, blah, 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 her mental health. He was still babying her. Just to me, that was very odd. And actually in that moment, I was very clear on, they're going to get back together.
I don't know about that, but I will say, I mean, first of all, I just want to agree with you. Yes, I think that Kyle has major codependency issues, not just in terms of what you're speaking to, although I want to bring in a point about that. But first of all, bringing Amanda into Loverboy in the first place, combining work with home. By the way, bringing Carl into Loverboy, which on some level was an act of generosity because, yes, Carl was a mess at the time and he was supporting him. But you know, there was conflict that played out around that about Carl being unhappy and then by extension, Lindsay was unhappy. And I've always clocked that Kyle, he wants to bring friends and family into it. And then, you know, I don't know the ins and outs of Loverboy, but like what we get from the show is he's like taking out like huge amounts of debt. It feels sort of like he went too hard, too fast once it was successful, which again, I'm just saying, yes, I think that Kyle has a huge relationship to intensity, drama, codependency, friends and family business. I think Kyle's really interesting because he there's a way in which he'll be the adult in the room. Like he will be the entrepreneur. He'll make the money. He'll keep a clean house. He always looks great. He goes for a run and a workout in the morning. Whereas Amanda will be more of the kind of like sluggish, I'm a hoarder, I'm a mess, I'm smoking weed every day, I'm a bed bug. So they wear it differently. But I do think they both have a relationship to major codependency for sure. The thing that I want to say about the Man on the Street interview is I think, I'm sure the codependency is a part of it. I also want to say I think Kyle is a deeply loving guy who cares about people, which is part of what I've always liked about him. And I also want to say what I have gotten about Kyle this season that I don't think I've fully clocked before. And by the way, this was via Amanda having a few powerful moments this season. Maybe we can get into that a little bit if you want to. But I did finally clock this season of, Kyle, he's camera savvy. Like he knows how to play things for the camera when he's not losing control. Which, you know, we love him because he loses control. But I think...
Give an example of him playing to the camera when he's not losing control.
Well, I really heard Amanda at the start of the season, you know, when she because there was, you know, Amanda kind of either will whine, which I agree with you is very off-putting, or this season she'll get cruel and mean, which I also find very off-putting. But I did think there were a few moments where she just really stayed she was in self-possession. She was calm. She was non-reactive. She wasn't whining. She wasn't moping. She wasn't taking jabs. And I just remember like there were certain conversations where Kyle was kind of like, Amanda, like, I just want to like be here and spend time with you. And you're not spending time with me. And she was just basically like, Kyle, like you've been gone, like traveling, you know, I don't want you to do this. And it's sort of like, now we're filming. I mean, she said it, now we're filming the show. And now you want to spend time with me at Summer House. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh.
I just want to say quickly when you just said, I don't want you to do this because there may be people listening who actually don't, they may just be enjoying actually never seen a frame of this show. Just know that Kyle went from being an entrepreneur with a liquor company to he's now pursuing a DJ career.
Yeah. And not only did he start pursuing a DJ career, but Amanda was vocal about, I don't love this choice. This takes you away from me.
She didn't marry a DJ.
Exactly. And Kyle just kind of went and did it anyway. I mean, there's a lot we could contextualize about that because it also came up in the middle of a fight about her wanting to pursue her dreams and his bad reaction to her wanting to pursue her dreams. It's basically the DJ issue is a loaded issue. And she did have some very clear moments where she was just like, Kyle, I've barely seen you kind of outside of this as you've been pursuing your DJ career. Now we're filming the show. Now you want to spend time with me, and kind of essentially saying like, tough luck. And when she said that, I was like, I can sense the part of Kyle that knows how to make things sound good on camera. I love Kyle. You know this. I love Kyle. I think he's got such a strong heart. I think deep down he means well, but I also think he knows how to play the game.
Let's talk about West. You had said to me that you always saw him as a dark figure. You always saw West and Jesse as very dark under the surface. Like, what was it that you didn't get how not only did Sierra not see it, but the viewers, like he was the fan favorite, and you couldn't believe that the viewers couldn't see his darkness.
I know. I was so triggered by the viewers that first.
Talk about that. What were you triggered by?
Well, I was just triggered that people were falling for it. It just made me so. This has nothing to do with the show. I just get disappointed in humanity when I'm like, ugh, I hate when people fall for the emperor's new clothes, because I'm just like, guys, can't you see what's going on here? And I just hate people being put on a pedestal. Like it's just so, no one should be put on a pedestal. By the way, including Sierra. Whatever. That whole moment, this last episode where Amanda was like,
"You're a queen. I would die for you." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and people are like dogging it now because of what they know, but I'm sitting there like, you know what, if this whole thing hadn't happened, people would be loving Amanda for saying that right now. And I'm just like, stop infantilizing Sierra. Like, is she great? Yes, absolutely. She's a fucking adult who's allowed to make adult choices, and she's gonna get hurt like the rest. I just hate this culture of like putting people on pedestals or like demonizing people. So anyways, going back to West,
where did you feel his darkness?
Well, so there's two levels. So one was just purely intuitive. Like it was the same thing like with Heather Gay at the beginning of Salt Lake City, like, or Margaret Joseph's, like beginning in New Jersey. There's just certain people that they hit me a certain way. And I was just like, this guy, I just don't believe him. Like he like everything he's saying, it sounds good. It looks good on the surface. There's just something off here. I don't believe what he's selling me. There's a bill of goods here. Like, what does Phaedra say? Something ain't right in the buttermilk. I could just feel it. I was like, I don't trust him.
But by the way, I want to say this. A certain percentage of the viewers did also love him because he, on the surface, has talked about his politics, and they're politics that we like.
Yeah. And look, we're all multifaceted human beings. And even me, like, I love that he's progressive and speaking out. I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. It's like, look, he's a human being. I mean, look, do I personally like him on a personality level? No. But do I also see that, like, part of why people liked him so much is he is really emotionally intelligent, and he absolutely can be charming, and there is a sensitivity to him. And I'm not someone who wipes that out just because I think there's a lot of unconscious behavior and he uses those attributes in manipulative ways. That's the thing. I mean, again, it's the opposite of the Sierra thing, where it's like people just want to be like, he's a sociopath and every single thing he does is just a fucking manipulation. It's like, guys, come on. Like, he's a human being who is, for whatever reason, doing what he thinks he needs to do to get his needs met. It doesn't make it okay. We hold him responsible, but also these are real vital aspects of him, and there are aspects of him that are likable. But yes, going back to the first season, no, I just didn't trust him. And then what I saw happening was I saw Sierra being so clear with him about, I'm looking for a serious relationship. I don't want to do anything if you're not serious too. Like, are you in this to win it? And I just saw him not giving her a clear answer. I didn't see him saying, I am in this to win it. I saw him kind of being like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of open to it, and maybe we'll sort of see where it goes. But if it ticks all the boxes, then yes. And it's interesting because a friend of my podcast, Molly, she was saying to me, she was sort of reaching out to me being like, I don't understand. Basically, I'm confused because I feel like she was like, I agree with you. He didn't give her a clear answer. And in that way, I actually think he was honest and clear with her. And so I was like, but no, see, for me, I don't know if you watched the reboot of Vanderpump Rules.
No.
There is this guy named Shane on it who's he's got this really interesting backstory, and he's sort of this really good looking fuckboy. What I loved about Shane was he literally said to women, I am not available for a relationship. I will have fun with you. I'll date you. We can have awesome sex. I respect you. We can have fun. I am telling you now, I've got commitment issues. I am nowhere near ready to be in a relationship. So if you are looking for a boyfriend, I am not the guy. He was like so crystal clear in his communication. And what I felt like West, yeah, he was occupying this murky middle ground. And then we learned about him. He had never been in a serious relationship. This is a guy in his early 30s, which is fine. But don't say you're interested in a relationship when you're 30 fucking years old or whatever, and you've never been in.
Well, he confuses people, and I think he confuses himself because he brings all these girls to meet his parents, to meet the family. That's very confusing. That's a step you take when you are on the road to a serious relationship.
I don't know what to say. To me, like, that's what I'm saying. I listen to what people say. So when Sierra says, I only want to do this if you're serious about the relationship, and then I take in that West is basically saying, I'm not going to give you a clear yes, and I'm not going to give you a clear no. To me, and that's why I was like, part of me wanted to shake Sierra and be like, walk away. He's giving you you are looking for a clear answer. He is not giving you one. So for me, I was like, and the fact though, see, that's why I didn't like him. I was like, she is telling you something clearly and you are not responding to her clarity. Now, Sierra has to look at why she didn't clock that. And again, I guess she's not alone because the world at large didn't seem to clock it. But I was sort of sitting there saying, this guy isn't giving her a clear answer and he's dragging her along. Look, Jess, this is what I'm going to say. Energy begets the same energy. So there was no version of this where West was going to hem and haw, be murky, be confused and confusing, and then be like, you know what? Now I'm a clear yes. It doesn't work that way. You're either in it to win it like Craig Conover or Sierra, or you're a no like Shane on Vanderpump Rules. You are not some confusing, weird, muddled answer maybe in the future who then turns into a clear
yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're not.
No, I agree with you 100. I have a friend who says, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no.
Yeah, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, I heard it if it's not a, yeah, something like that. If it's not a hell yes, it's a fuck no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to talk about West's sort of compulsive, impulsive, addictive kind of behavior, mannerisms. There's a difference between having a problem and having addictive energy. And I am a person with addictive energy. And so I can see it all around me, wherever it's like a red flashing light. I can't miss it. And he absolutely has that compulsive, impulsive energy that I see in myself.
I mean, all of them, honestly. I mean, I see it in him. I see it in Amanda. I see it in Kyle. I see it. Well, you know, Carl's like an acknowledged addict.
Yeah, he's off to the side.
No, I mean, this is an addict-y show. And I think it's prevalent in reality TV. It seems that a lot of these, because reality TV itself has like an addictive quality to it. And it feeds.
Well, they're all addicted to, more than anything, they're addicted to the attention and the fame.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, like, it's a machine that feeds that need, for attention, for the dopamine hit, because it's like, it's the show, it's the fan response, it's the social media, any part of you that's compulsive, restless, and looking for an out. That's why I think Carl, and look, I'll give her credit too, even though she's difficult for me in a lot of ways, Lala, like anyone who gets genuinely sober within reality TV, my fucking hat's off to you, because that is not easy. Half these people need to get sober.
You should watch or listen to the interview. Carl interviewed The Situation from Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah, I saw
and
clips.
It's pretty good. Like, The Situation is very honest about manipulating the MTV cameras and like it's just that shit that he was doing way back in the day on Jersey Shore. Anyway, I just wanted to recommend that. But you also said that West reminds you of one of those guys who has like 2 wives, 2 families, 2 sets of kids, like leading a double life. Like he likes he's addicted to a certain kind of like secrecy. Yeah,
no, for sure. Yeah, like I think he loves the secrecy. And, again, this is sort of where we get into that line between, what would because I think even the integrated, what we could call like evolved, mature part of Wes, like he feels like he'd be mischievous. Like, like it feels like he's someone who would have like secrets like a magician does, like in a almost playful way where he's sort of doing things behind the scenes. Like that can be a very seductive, fun energy, but because he is so unconscious, shut down, and like compulsive, instead it lives like he's got dark secrets where he's like doing naughty things and lying to people in the shadows. But yeah, I think he likes to hang out in the shadows of secrecy for sure, because it's where I do get the sense that Wes somewhere along the way learned he had to be the good boy, whatever that means. Good boy, good son, good friend. There's a way that looks. I think that he's an alpha masquerading as a cuck. And so I think, that energy never goes away. So I think part of him loves what happens in shadows because that's where he gets to have his power, his alpha power.
But the thing is, he is alpha. He was a competitive football player. Like, he went to college for football.
I don't know if this is true, again, so don't quote me. But one of my listeners mentioned that apparently he was like not good. That like he has no statistics to his name. Like he
admits. Last night I was watching an interview with him. God, this guy can't communicate. An interview with him is literally like banging your head against the wall. It's insane.
Teenager. He's like a teenager.
He cannot spit out a fucking sentence. So anyway, in this interview, it was all about like why he decided to go to the college he did. So he went to Montana State, and he's like obsessed with Montana. I'm like, I'm ready to get on a plane. I'm like, check Montana out. Like Bozeman, like he's all about it. And he was a football player. But wait, so what's that? He wasn't good? He kind of admits that. He sort of is like, yeah, and then I went into marketing and...
Well, yeah. I just think it's interesting from, again, a pattern perspective. If we're talking about that interplay of the alpha versus the cuck, it's interesting, like to your point, okay, he was like in this alpha jock position, but then he couldn't deliver the goods. So it just feels like there's a tension there with him about what it means to fully be in his alpha power. He can never quite embody it.
Mm. Oh, the comparisons to Catch Me If You Can, like how he's just like on the run. Every time you look at this guy on Instagram, he's getting on a plane. He's been on 50 fucking flights since this scandal broke, which I know he had some family stuff. Isn't that crazy about his grandmother being murdered by his cousin? Yeah. The day of the reunion or like the night before the reunion? What's your read on that?
It would kind of be interesting because again, I don't know the guy. I don't know his history, but it is interesting if we want to look at it like matriarch is getting killed. So, depending on, did something come through? Was that West? It may have been Rob Roush. If something, because I was just trying to think if something came through about like feeling stymied or shut down by a woman with West, because again, like the grandmother's the matriarch. So here he is in this scandal where his split is blowing up in his face. And so, yeah, it might be interesting to look at, like, it would be interesting just to know the family dynamic. And then you've got this male cousin who's like killing the matriarch. Maybe that's another stymied boy who's like rageful at the matriarch of the family. Who knows, But it's the violence is interesting. The violence, the drama. Yes, obviously there's a rage in that family's energetic field for sure.
You said something interesting I want to talk
about.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, no, just because you're asking. I did say something about like, as West, it felt like knowing myself on a deeper level. It almost felt like life or death terror and like a survival issue. So speaking about family field, you at least have a cousin who's got murderous rage. So it's just interesting because, I do wonder, it's like, what if I'm right about what's coming through, what was it West learned that felt like life or death survival? And then it's just interesting that at least on an unconscious underground level, there's like murderous rage in his family system. So it's interesting. It's interesting that I initially had no answer, but even knowing so little about him, possible threads start to come through. And I guess I'll just say that, working with people, it's like, even like the unspoken matters. Like, especially if you're sensitive, which many of us are, and I think West actually is, you pick up on energy and you feel energy. So even if that cousin was never out murdering people, or the family members are never saying, oh yeah, we've got murderous rage, we feel shit. So if that's lurking in the shadows, believe me, there's stuff I felt in my family system that was never spoken about. And then as an adult, things start coming out. And it's like, I always fucking knew, you know? So, you know, it would be interesting to know more.
Well, to that end, you said the thing that you pick up on him is, I refuse to know myself on a deeper level. I refuse to know. That's why he's run, and catch me if you can.
Yeah. Which, by the way, because I always forget, because I'm older now. For anyone who's listening to this, Catch Me If You Can is like an old Steven Spielberg movie.
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah.
Yeah, where he played like a con man who like wore all these different...
It's literally in my top 3 movies of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Talented Mr. Ripley, American Psycho, Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, it's interesting. You really like these shape-shifting stories.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Yes.
Have you read all 5 of them?
No.
Because I read those as a teenager and was obsessed with those books. And so, yeah, I had a very complicated relationship with the Matt Damon movie coming out. Have you seen the...
No, I was going to say, I did have to quickly throw in Patricia Highsmith, the author, lesbian.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She also wrote the movie Carol with Cate Blanchett. It's based on her book. The original printing of that book came out in the 40s, and it's not called Carol. It's called The Price of Salt. But anyway, it's Carol.
And Strangers on a Train.
And Strangers on a Train.
Did you ever see the Italian version of Talented Mr. Ripley called Purple Noon with Alain Delon?
No.
Oh, Jess, you've got to see it.
Oh, I'll watch it.
So fucking good. It's so to me, like as you know, like those books meant so much to me, and then I loved Purple Noon because I love Alain Delon. So I didn't love the Matt Damon version, but you should watch Purple Noon for sure.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so good. Captures him in a way that I don't think the American one personally does.
What was the other thing about Catch Me If You Can? Oh, him, West. Can we dip into West toward Kyle? Because they are, I mean, everyone keeps making the joke, oh, West is Kyle in a different font. But let's look at that a bit more maturely. They are shadow versions of each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. I think what's so interesting to me in terms of the inversion is like I said, West is kind of like the alpha pretending to be a cuck, and part of that is he's like we saw him play the role this season, like the protector of Amanda. He's emotionally sensitive, he's emotionally attuned, he's attuned to the nuances, whereas Kyle, I don't actually think Kyle is a cuck, but he's kind of been cucked in this situation. So he's the cuck playing the alpha. And even though I do think Kyle is actually very tapped in on a deeper level, but there's a way in which he's like a bull in a china shop. And he doesn't lead with that emotional attunement, especially when it comes to Amanda. And instead he's like raging and getting drunk and screaming and yelling. And so, yeah, but there's a directness to him. You know where you stand with Kyle. Kyle is like, come as you are.
He's a terrific communicator.
He wears his fucking heart in his sleeve, whereas West presents as, like the attuned, safe one, but actually he's secretive. So I do think it's fascinating to me how they are inversions of each other. It's almost like it's like Faith and Buffy, or like it's like a classic hero villain sort of like The Dark Mirror, like I'm suddenly thinking of like Tom Cruise and Henry, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible.
Oh,
but like,
yeah.
That kind of like when two sort of warriors are going head to head and they're sort of inverted mirrors of each other.
You know what's so weird? So not only did West bring Sierra and like every woman he's ever known home to meet his parents and like the cattle ranch and all that shit.
So creepy. So creepy.
There's an episode of his podcast. I just saw a clip. It's like a 2-minute clip where he is recapping a trip that happened, I guess, before they started filming this season, where he took Kyle to the Ozarks. He met just him and Kyle, one-on-one. Date weekend. That to me says, oh, they really were. To me, that's so sick that he would do that to Kyle. Like, man to man, that's rare for a straight guy to fuck over their straight guy friend is and maybe I just don't hear about it that much. The thing I want to say about that is I loved when you said like West to the competitive nature of West toward all these people. Oh, Kyle, you think you're you're the head guy in the house. You never saw me coming.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about it, I mean, a few things come up for me. Suddenly I'm thinking about Luke and this kind of guy because remember how Luke, in my mind, very clumsily would kind of use the whole sort of motorcycle syrup lumberjack thing as like his flirtatious calling. Like, hey, Hannah, want to come on my motorcycle? And to me, it was so ridiculous. But
remember all those scenes of him alone outside the house just chopping wood?
Jess, we could do a whole fucking episode on Luke. I feel like Luke somehow got away.
Can't wait. By the way, we've been recording for more than 50 minutes. We haven't even touched Carl. I have like 3 hours in me on Carl alone.
I love Carl. I have such a soft spot for Carl. But
okay, Luke.
Well, should I finish? I think like what I'm seeing in Luke and Wes, it does feel like there's this type of guy where it's like, oh, my rough and tumble Minnesota, Montana. And maybe this is a very New York thing since New York is so urban, but it's like, this is like my flirtatious call. This is how I seduce you. Like this is how I'm going to bring you into my little Montana world. I'm just sort of making that connection. It's like, let me razzle you and dazzle you a little bit with my like lumberjack magic. But I mean, I think as I feel into it, I mean, I want to say like Kyle has acknowledged that he did have a genuine friendship with Wes and he felt genuinely close to him. So to your point, like he's acknowledged that. And I think, but part of what I get off this, I get a few things as you talk. It's like, one, the seduction, and then two, I mean, I do think it benefits West to being good with Kyle because Kyle is the king of the castle. He's the king of Summer House. So I think it sort of serves an advantage in that way. And also, like it does. It feels like part of his shtick and part of his charm.
But why would he fuck Amanda if he's trying to get in good with Kyle?
Well, because I think there's ambivalence there. I think that he like, again, I think he plays the cuck because he thinks that's what he has to do to get ahead and get leverage. But I think part of him is outraged about it because it's not who he really is. Because, again, to your point, I think we're all in agreement West is someone who wants to be liked, right? So, same with Tom Sandoval. So if you want to be liked, why would you go do this stuff that has the threat to totally nosedive your reputation? It's because something in you is fucking furious about the self-betrayal of playing. This is the split, right? So this is why I'm saying we make unconscious choices that actually keep us locked in our story. So, we talked about with Sierra. Here's West. He wants to be liked. He's trying to do things to be the good guy. And yet he's making these choices that recreate a pattern where he gets certainly knocked down off his pedestal and a whole lot of trouble. And then he's the naughty boy who has to win his way back into the good graces. This is what we do. So I think it's love-hate. Like, I love what you can do for me, Kyle. I hate you for having to play second fiddle.
Why do you think the viewers project so much onto Sierra specifically?
I think part of what happens is that I think that these reality people become like symbols for things we've gone through that have never been fully seen and heard. I think we all want to be seen and heard, And so like even Sierra, and this is one of the blessings I would say of the situation, how amazing for her that this gets to be seen, heard, and witnessed by a supportive audience who has her back. Because the truth is, let's say this had happened not on a reality show, but just in her private life, this probably would have just been another notch on the bedpost of her proof that you can't trust people, right? But because it was witnessed, she has like the support of the viewing audience saying, no, we see this. You were done wrong. Don't take this personally. We've got your back. And I think being seen and heard in our deepest wounds is one of the most healing things. So I think when, it reminds me of like how in Salt Lake City, Monica Garcia for a moment became like the patron saint of anyone who ever had to deal with a narcissistic parent. And everyone wanted to put her on a pedestal and excuse every single thing she did. And if you dared to say like, actually, I think she's kind of like unhealthy in ways, like people are like, you don't know what it's like to have a narcissistic mother, and it's like, okay, like, I think for a lot of people, these situations happen where maybe it touches a wound where they have not yet felt fully seen and heard, and maybe they haven't validated it for themselves yet, because most of us don't get to be on reality TV, and most of us don't get to have a viewing audience who sees it through the camera that then says, hey, we saw this, it's fucked up. And so I think when it plays out on TV, they become like the projection screen of like, there's something here that I can witness in the way that I wanted witnessed. Yeah, and so I think
what's interesting. So, I've had a very unique experience, like watching the whole Scandival thing play out, and now this play out, because as you know, I went through a very similar real life experience to these, and I was not seen and heard by the world. I had the quite opposite experience, and I think that also, I think that's also why I've been very hesitant to speak on the topic, because when I talk about Amanda, like I'll be on the phone with a friend of mine, like literally, like I sound like a psychopath, like an enraged human being. And I'm like, I could never go on the mic. And like, I really, like, whatever I said at the beginning of this episode, that like, I could never speak more about Amanda, because then it's my own shit popping up. But I say all of this to say, like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if there's anything else to say, and maybe I'll even cut this out, but there's I have a very weird version of watching these things play out for the public sphere.
Well, no, I love what you're saying, because I think you're speaking very beautifully to what I'm saying, which is it's hitting something vulnerable in you because you went through something that wasn't seen and heard. And I have my own experience of this from, my early years. It's devastating. Like, that's what I'm saying. We all want to be seen and heard. And even in terms of my work, like I've known for a while, like I almost feel like 85% of essentially what I'm doing with clients is I'm just seeing and hearing them on a very deep level. And I see the immediate impact that has on them. For just someone to reflect, hey, I understand this about you and your experience, and I validate it. I mean, even just saying this, I can feel it. It's like a weight gets lifted off your shoulders. And like, I was thinking about this because I was thinking about that notion of like, when something's finally seen and heard. And, as you know, I went through like this really rigorous 4-year therapeutic training program that was all about group work. And early on, there was someone who was throwing a lot of projection at me, was very like doing a lot of weird manipulative shit with me. And when I called it out, they tried to lie about it, and they tried to minimize it, and they tried to like turn it around on me. And I'll never forget this moment, because I was so prepared, because I was so used to it. I was just so prepared to like go into battle and just to advocate for myself and And I remember suddenly I heard this voice from the side of the room, because I was in a group situation who had witnessed some of these things. And a voice said, "That's bullshit. That's not what happened." And then another voice came in and was like, "You're lying right now." And I'm getting chills just even remembering it. Jess, I had never experienced anything like that, where I was like, oh my God, like someone else is seeing this and speaking for me. And, it's not that like we shouldn't rely on that. I think we ultimately need to validate things for ourselves. And I think that's the most empowering place you can be, is when you know your own truth, regardless of what anyone else is saying. But I'm not going to lie. When someone else stands with you and it's like, I see what fucking happened, I had never experienced relief like that in my entire fucking life. So I just think it's a very innate human desire to be seen and heard in our wounds. I often think that the real injury isn't what happened. It's when we're not like seen and heard. Yeah. And saying, this happened, I'm hurt, like hear me, see me. So I think we're both speaking to it. I think a lot of what happens for the audience is this is hitting something in me that I just was never fully seen and heard.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into Carl and Lindsay. Why do you think Lindsay is still making jabs at Carl? Like, not only in the Talking Heads, but on Watch What Happens Live, like as recent as like the other week, that making fun of Brooklyn and Greenpoint. What is actually going on with Lindsay regarding Carl?
Well, I think it's kind of what we were just speaking to. I think Lindsay was devastatingly hurt by what happened. I think she was humiliated and embarrassed. I think she's very prideful. And I think Lindsay's just someone like, I don't want to let them know how much they hurt me, how much they, I mean, because she keeps saying that, like, Carl's irrelevant to me. Carl's irrelevant to me. And you know as well as I do, even before they were engaged, they were like super close friends. That's what led to their relationship. She cares about him. It's not irrelevant to her. He's not irrelevant to her. She cared about him and he hurt her. And I just think we're seeing her act out. I think she hasn't fully let herself process it. And at least at the time of the filming. And so she's just getting in her digs to try to let everyone know. She's very, look, obviously it's stating the obvious to say Lindsay's very prideful. And I just, like I said, I think she doesn't want anyone to know how hurt she was. I think the hardest thing in the world for her is to say, like, this devastated me. I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
Well, think about it. How could she have processed it? She got pregnant by this guy she had been dating for like 3 months, 2 months. The first guy she went on a date with, she got pregnant. How could she have had the time? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Look, she moves fast. Lindsay's on a timeline.
She's a closer. Do you think he and Lindsay will ever be really close friends again?
I think they. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like the little like moment. Like, did you see the most recent from the Vulture event?
Yes. Oh, with them like jumping up and down.
Yeah, dancing together, and yeah.
But Jamie, 4 days prior, Andy Cohen was like, "Oh, when they did that ad together for the Carl's a Mess thing, you know what I'm talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, is this like some healing?" She's like, "No, not really."
This is where I get, I have to say, I've always been such a huge Lindsay fan.
I know. That's when she's like infuriating.
She's starting to annoy me. She's really starting to annoy me. I'm just like, Lindsay, get over it. Like, stop. Like, time to grow. And I do think Lindsay's grown over the years, and I've always given her those flowers. But Lindsay, it's time to grow again. Like, just, this isn't pretty. Like, it's just, whatever. Anyways, I don't know about, I've always felt there was hope for them, definitely as friends. I mean, when they first broke up, as you know, there was a part of me that was like, I'm not sure they're totally over. I mean, now I'm more dubious. I think it's kind of that Ramona Mario thing where I just think there's something in Lindsay where it's like, I will never let myself run the risk of being embarrassed like that again, no matter how I feel on the inside. On that note, as far as being close friends, I don't know. I think maybe if they end up casting Carl on In the City in subsequent seasons, and then they're forced to be around each other, and then who knows what, like, ensemble dynamics, and maybe if he comes to her side, and like I could see maybe that fostering something. I think if they're not on a show together, she might always keep them at an arm's distance.
Of this cast, who do you want back? I mean, I think some things are up in the air, but like all things being equal, who would you want back? And who do you think will come back?
I'm just kind of more excited about it In the City. Like, I just
You're more excited for In the City?
Yeah, because for me, Summer House has only ever been about Kyle, Carl, Lindsay, and Danielle. So, like, I put Carl on In the City. And honestly, the parts of Summer House the past few years that are most interesting to me are when they are in the city dealing with their adult relationships. So I'm just kind of like, I've been waiting for In the City. I'm ready to watch a show about this friend group. I don't personally really care about West, Jesse, Ben, Sabrina, Dara. I don't care about any of those people. So if they just spun off to In the City, personally, I could leave Summer House behind. I know that's not the answer you're looking for.
No, I mean, well, no, I did want to get your feeling on. I'm worried. I'm very worried that In the City is going to be a total fucking dud. It's completely obsolete, Jamie. And yes, they shot like a new scene or two. That doesn't get you to power through 12 episodes that were filmed a fucking year ago.
See, to me, it's still the same exciting Easter egg hunt of Summer House of like, I want to watch.
But West's not on this show.
But I don't. I mean, first of all, I don't need to watch West. I'm more interested.
But that's the Easter egg hunt.
No, but Amanda and Kyle's relationship, I'm interested in. I mean, look, I might be in the minority, but I want to watch their relationship.
But here's the other thing, and maybe they'll admit this in the reunion, which has yet to air. But Kyle he basically said in that Man on the Street interview that they're going to have to come clean about. They were already separated. I mean, I believe they were separated going into the filming of this season of Summer House. And then they needed to capture it for I know that you don't like to talk about production, but like I think there's a lot of
No, I mean, people say that. I mean, again, for me, I just can't imagine lying in front of a camera. So I'm always like, do people really do that? But I mean, they do, obviously. So maybe you're right. I never like go there in my mind unless I get like a deep intuition. Like there are certain couples where I'm like, oh, you're lying. But if it doesn't land with me as like an honest to God intuition, I never assume.
Well, I guess maybe the real question is, in watching all the Easter eggs and watching this season of Summer House play out, do you think West and Amanda were hooking up last summer? Like, when do you, in your gut, what does your intuition say for when this actually started, given everything we're seeing, all the strange scenes that we're seeing with them?
It definitely feels like, I mean, look, I think energetically lines were getting blurred. So I don't know if they were having sex last summer, but hanging out, having inappropriate conversations, texting inappropriately, complaining about Kyle in an inappropriate way, feeling the heat of that. I mean, as I'm saying this, my pelvis is coming alive. So I think at the very least, they were enjoying each other in an inappropriate way that turned them both on. That was definitely clearing the runway for wherever this was going. Do I think they were sleeping together? It doesn't quite. I mean, and I don't claim to be like, a psychic in this way, but I'm just saying if I follow what my body is telling, it doesn't quite feel that way to me. It feels like we're planting the seed. It's like, when you start planting the seeds for something naughty, but the seeds haven't sprouted yet. It's like, I think they knew where this was heading. I think they knew how good it felt. I think they knew it was inappropriate. I think they liked the thrill of it. What I'm kind of feeling is like fall. Because the other thing, I don't know, there is something I'm kind of maybe picking up on about like, we're not going to do this while we're filming. I don't know, just sort of like the safety. Like, I don't know, like we gotta, and I think the thrill of the secret while filming would be enough erotically to like, it's like the tease before the act. And then, cameras go down. Let's finally fuck. My body is kind of like fall.
Well,
and I don't know that it was like
Jamie, West literally said, let's just get, in referencing to Sierra, who he clearly has zero fucking interest in. Once she forgives him, he's like, yeah, I'm not ready for a double date. Let's just get to the fall. So what you're saying is came out of his mouth. That's what it feels like to me. Like kind of like we're starting something. Let's get through filming. And then let's let's see what the fall brings. But what I was going to say, it almost feels like if something did happen in the fall, not like that they were banging all the time, but maybe, once or twice. You know what I mean? Like once or twice, like wedding, like an amuse-bouche, How gross was it when like Wes saddled up next to her at that final dinner? Like what a guy. He's been doing this all season.
What fucking nerve. What nerve. The way that he was like coaching Kyle to apologize, and that's some talented Mr. Ripley shit right there. He should be your favorite character.
He kind of is.
I will say, so that's the one thing I'll say too. It's
that's my huge unpopular opinion. I will always love West, and I don't care who knows it. It
did help me develop an appreciation for his underground darkness and drama. I was like, oh, he's an interesting guy. Mm-hmm. Deep down. Like, I don't, again, do I think he's Arrested Development? Yes. Do I think he's like a teenager who's like not in any kind of direct ownership of all these parts of himself? Yes. But those parts of him, I'm like, oh, he's powerful. Like, I got it. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot going on. He is a Mr. Ripley, and that's kind of interesting,
You want to get to know all these new fucking people on In the City?
Yeah, if they're going to give me good TV, if it's interesting relationship, why not? Of course. Except for just talk to me. Why do we have to keep dealing with Andrea? Like, this is the nice guy, good looking. Like, I mean, am I alone in just like, you talked about Amanda not being good TV? What is Andrea bringing to our television?
People find him very charming.
Because he brings women coffee in the morning?
And he has a certain... Maybe it's because he's Italian, he's European, at least he's charming. Where Amanda
There's no
is
darkness.
absolutely charmless.
Well, look, as a viewer, I mean, yeah, I've never responded to Amanda because I like the Lindsays, the Kyles, the Carls, the Danielle. Like, I like the people who live out loud, wear their emotions on their sleeves, fucking messy. That's what I've always loved. Never been a bedbug fan. So yeah, Andrea, to me, I'm just like, there's just no darkness. It's like, I don't know. It's like, what am I watching? I don't know. Maybe I'm not his target audience, I guess. I mean, I love his sex positivity. That part I like,
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he's talked about his big dick and liking anal and all that stuff. And
what? Oh, I thought you meant like getting it. Never mind.
Maybe, I don't know. But I think, no, he was talking about giving it.
I have no memory of that.
Because it was like the only interesting thing about him.
So you clocked that.
I clocked it. I was like, okay, at least he's getting spicy.
Okay, Carl's mom. Now, I know you've said to me privately many times.
And publicly.
And publicly.
No, I've talked about Carl's mom.
Okay. I know Carl's mom is, if you could actually go on like public radio or no, what should I say? If you could actually like send one message to the world, it's something about Carl's mom. This is truly your passion project.
All right, I'll take it.
What's your read? Okay, let's start here. What was your read on the scene between Lindsay and Carl's mom at Soft Bar? And then we'll get into how Carl's mom is actually preventing Carl's life from beginning.
That was such a weird scene. And, it's hard because I don't have full context of like their whole relationship. But look, from what I understand, because I like poked around on the internet, like Carl's mom apparently after the breakup went to their like intended honeymoon destination and like took photos in the hot tub. Like, I do think Carl's mom does some slippery stuff, and I think Lindsay has a right to have feelings about that. It's hard because I also felt like, to your point, Lindsay wasn't necessarily overall gracious at that event. Like, she was insulting Carl. She was taking digs about Soft Bar. I also want to say for Lindsay, given that she's so prideful, given she shut this idea down, and here's Carl doing it, being successful, I'm sure this was a challenge for her in a lot of ways.
In what ways do you think Carl is stunted by Sharon, the mom?
Well, I think what I've always possibly seen and sensed in this relationship, and again, I don't know the details because I haven't read his book, but I know that Carl grew up obviously in a family where it sounded like his father and his brother were acting out, and that the mother, Sharon, withstood a lot of bad behavior. And I think that it feels to me like Carl, in a lot of ways, became like the good boy to her, who was the one who sort of helped her through things. And we've seen this on the show, like him be this emotional support to her. And the thing of it is, it's like, that's not any son or daughter's job. It's like, no son or daughter is there to be an emotional support system for the parent. And what that can do is it puts the child in an uncomfortable position because you love the parent. You're also getting currency out of it. It's like, I'm the good one. Like, this is how I get love. And so a lot of times what happens is we're actually really angry about that, being put in that position, but we don't want to let ourselves know that because, and again, especially in a situation like that, if Sharon is the kind, loving parent, and if the father's more the asshole, and if the brother's more the asshole, I mean, again, I don't know the details, but this is me just going off what I know.
Well, the father cheated on her. That's why they got divorced.
Okay, so there we go. You know what I mean? So the father's acting out. So it's like, dad's the asshole, mom's the nice one. I don't want to know that there's shit about mom I'm angry about. Also, like, I've internalized a sense of responsibility for her. So I don't want to say anything that's going to upset her. I don't want to let her know that maybe I'm uncomfortable being put in this situation. And then I have to become the good boy, And so what starts to happen, like we're talking about that split in West, what starts to happen is part of me resents the situation I'm in. Part of me doesn't want to be in this situation. And also part of me might fucking resent my mother for constantly presenting as a victim all the time. Like, kind of wanting to say, like, woman up, stand up for yourself, stop being a pushover. So it can get complicated. So I think what happens potentially in someone like Carl is like, I've got all this rage. I've got all this resentment towards the woman I also really love and also see as a victim and also feel responsible for. If I let myself know about any of this anger, I'm the worst fucking son in the world. She means so well. She loves me. She's the wronged one. So let me stuff this down. But then I'm this guy who's sort of performing the good boy, but I've got all this secret anger towards like women and what have you, and then I'm sort of pushing it all down. And you
had said, and you had said this a while back, and then you said it before you did a reel on Instagram, that you actually feel that Carl is very sexual, which I can hear people laughing. People are like, actually, they're going to need a lot of explanation about this because Lindsay gets on television. She goes like, yeah, he's a great conversationalist, but he's not going to have sex with you. I mean, can we say like a lot of people do believe Carl is not dealing with his actual sexuality?
To me, he has always felt legitimately attracted to women. Could I see a version of Carl that's kind of fluid and sexual and has all sorts of different experiences, which, by the way, he's already like copped to some of that. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I mean, I don't know. When I saw him flirting with Bailey and he had like a smile on his face and he was, in that he had that moment where he was like, I'm a better kisser than Ben. And he did say, look, I don't know. Lindsay, I guess, has neither confirmed nor denied this, but he did say on the show, when we were having sex, she said it was some of the best sex she ever had. Yeah. He did used to be a fuck boy. He did say, look, I used to fuck around and got in trouble for it. Now I'm getting in trouble for it for not fucking around. I mean, look, I think my sense of Carl is...
if I can say one quick thing, when he was a fuck boy, he was on drugs. Like, I think what I have always said is that if you look at it through the lens that Carl that there is a fluidity to his sexuality, or that he may be, in fact, just be gay, everything begins to make sense. And I know that there's like physical addiction, but I think Lindsay is totally oblivious.
Do I think there's like strong chance that, like I said, Carl's just kind of a wildly sexual guy who'll sort of do things with men and women? Like, I could definitely see that being a possibility. Like, he just feels, I mean, you know me, I don't even really love labels, but maybe like pansexual.
Pansexual. I was just going to say, do you think like guys are on the down low? They want to lead a heterosexual life, but they also will get on the apps and maybe they're attracted to trans women. Like they're leading a double life and they actually want that. There's some guys who don't want to be leading a gay social life. They're not interested in that.
Well, and I think this is where this is a much broader conversation about the way this world holds conversations about sexuality and sexual identity. I think it's so boring and uninspired and limited. And I don't know, there's something about humanity where we just want to like put things in these neat boxes and labels and the way communities get defined. And not everyone fits in these boxes. I mean, I think a lot of people don't fit in these boxes, to be perfect.
You and I don't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, there's so much I don't resonate with. So, again, look, all I'm saying is, yeah, that moment where he was flirting with Bailey, his hair was tousled, he was smiling. I was just like, Carl, I was like, he's got heat in him. And I think this is what I was going to say earlier. I mean, to me, it just feels like a class that, I see this all the time and I work with people like this where there's a lot of people where it's like, for example, they can either have hot, passionate sex or they can be in an intimate, emotionally connected relationship. But if they don't know how to have both at the same time. So I just think Carl, and this is what I was speaking to in my most recent reel, it's like he's gotten sober. He's doing a lot to work on himself. And I think there's something in him that is perhaps scared to touch his sexual heat, his life force, his anger, because it's like he's never, to your point, I don't think he's ever known a life where those more fiery, alive aspects of him are online without the cover of like drugs, alcohol, or acting out, disregarding people's feelings. He's never integrated like that fuckboy old Carl, which, shout out to that season 4 finale. That was like one of the best hours of television with their roast where, remember when he was like, what did he do? Where he announced that he had made out with Danielle. and it like devastated Lindsay. And then he's just like, it's a roast. It's a roast. He was such an asshole. But like, you know, that asshole in him, that came from somewhere. Like Carl, that's what I'm saying. Carl, don't count Carl out. He's got an edge to him. But you can feel it. Like he's scared to know that part of himself because he doesn't want to destabilize his sobriety.
Yeah.
No rush, Carl. Take your time. But
I have a very important question. Do you think they're going to put West on the Traitors?
No.
No?
Is that what they're saying? Is there
No, I know.
that?
This is just me asking.
No, that's just what I'm saying right now. No, he's just, I don't know. I think that I know that you find him really interesting, and I know I just spoke to like aspects of it being interesting, but Wes is kind of boring. Like, you know how people are talking about, like, at least in the audio we heard, he's not really saying anything and like that's what he did West freezes. He's such in a way he's an uninteresting villain because at least Sandoval fucking like Sandoval is good TV. I don't care what you say about him.
No, you don't have to tell me.
Oh no, I meant the audience, not you.
Okay.
Like Sandoval's great. House of Villains, he was so funny on.
Sandoval was born to be an entertainer. Period.
I really think this. It's too bad he's not more humble because I really believe if he had actually just fucking taken classes, taken acting seriously, gone to school, like I think that guy could have been a great actor. He's so fucking dramatic and emotional. Anyways, Wes, like, what are we gonna do? Watch him freeze up at the round table and chew his fingernails and like he's boring in the way that he currently presents. He's boring.
Jamie Stein. Everyone follow Jamie on Instagram. Your podcast is Deep Dive with Jamie Stein. What do you know what you're going to do next?
Yeah, I think there's more to be said about Summer House. And we'll see where the wind takes me. I still would love to do some Beverly Hills content. It's getting a little too late. But hopefully I could get an episode or two about them because I haven't covered that at all.
All right. I think we did it. What else is there?
We did it.
I guess that's it.
Less support through telehealth, but it feels overwhelming and rushed? Check out OrderlyMeds.com now. OrderlyMeds.com was built to be different. Here, you connect with real doctors who take the time to understand your goals, review your eligibility, and guide you through a plan that's right for you. Orderly Meds provides access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide, including both name brand options and personalized compound versions when appropriate. So you have choices backed by clinical oversight, not guesswork. It's a simpler, more supportive telehealth experience designed around people who want clarity, care, and confidence in their weight loss journey. And your medication is delivered directly to your home in discreet packaging, so your experience stays private from start to finish. Do your research, ask the right questions, then visit orderlymeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. Again, that's orderlymeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.